Well, with only a few new fall shows left, one of them ends up being one of the most surprising shows so far. Hey guys, come over the series premiere of the new CW show Frequency. Now, I really did not know what to think of this show, just like No Tomorrow. I really didn't have much of an opinion on it. This seemed to me like another forced TV adaptation of a movie, and the difference with this, though, I was a little bit more optimistic with this one, because the difference with this is that the movie this is based on, not a lot of people know about. It was a movie that came out in like 2000, I believe, like Bruce Willis was in it, and it's not really that memorable of a film. In fact, I've never even heard of it unless this TV show came out. So I guess in retrospective, that really was a good thing. But in general, I really didn't know how the show was going to be. But I have to say that this show really surprised me. I really enjoyed this first episode. That was really well done overall. I don't know where the show is going to go from here, but overall, I really do like where the show is headed, and I'm definitely going to continue watching. But let's just get to the plot of this show, because the plot in general is the thing that can, really made me a little bit worried. But basically, the plot of the show, we focus on this girl, Raimy Sullivan. She is this NYPD detective, and she finds this radio, basically, that allows her, she finds this, like, ham radio. She doesn't really know where it comes from, but she discovers she's able to speak to people on it, and she very quickly discovers that she's able to talk to Frank Sullivan, aka her dead father, and basically is given the chance to right the wrongs and maybe fix things in her life and maybe fix their very complicated relationship. And that basically is a plot of Frequency overall. But let's get more into the show, because I definitely do have to say more about it regarding the cast. That was the thing with the show, is that regarding the cast in the show, I really thought they were going to be the thing that sticks out. And really, everyone, I think, gave a very good performance. The performances in the show are very strong. Let's talk about Painless in the show as the character Raimy Sullivan. Now, the character Raimy Sullivan, I don't think is that compelling of a character. Like, there's not really one thing that sticks with me, except that she is a detective and that she lost her father, and that very much has had an impact on her, and I thought it was interesting to see. But what she did a great job with is showing someone who's given the chance to change something. Would you actually change it? And the reaction of her realizing this is her late father. Her acting in the show is really great, and that really does make up for the lack of a very one-dimensional character. Her character, so far at least, isn't really all that interesting, but I was completely fine with that. I thought her character to be really great. I really loved her acting in the show. I thought she was very interesting overall, and now that she's able to change things for her father, I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. I'm really liking where she's headed. She overall was really great. And then Riley Smith, who plays her father, Frank, I thought was also very good here, because this is someone who, he's living in 1996, and he doesn't really know what's going on, but their little relation that they have is very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing really where that's going to go, and especially the fact that, spoiler alert, she did in fact save him. I'm looking forward to seeing how their dynamic is overall. They already seem to have very good chemistry, so they, in general, are enough of a reason for me to recommend this show. I really love what they had to do here. Mekhi Phifer as Satch, who is Frank's former partner. I thought he overall was really interesting, too, because it definitely seems like he knew what was going to happen, and that Raimy, definitely is on to him. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with him. And then Stan Moreno, this guy that worked with Frank, I'm interested in his character as well. I think he's very fascinating, so I'm looking forward to getting more into him. The only characters we didn't really get into in this episode were Gordo, Raimy's childhood friend. Really don't know much about him. Julie, her mother, we kind of do, but now that she's gone missing, I don't really know where that's going to go. And then Maya, her closest friend. We know pretty much zero to nothing about this character. I don't even think we met this character, so I don't really know much about her. But Daniel Bonjour in the show, the character of Daniel, Raimy's fiance, this is someone I'm definitely interested in getting into, because he was Raimy's fiance, but now that she's changed things, there's been a butterfly effect. He and Raimy actually have never met, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his character, where he's going to go, because now that these two have never met, I don't really know where he's headed. But overall, I really do like this cast so far. They very much surprised me, and that's something I definitely really did like about this show. So the cast in general I found to be very surprising, and I was definitely very impressed by it. What impressed me even more was the directing and the writing of this episode, because, again, it just seemed very mediocre from the way the trailer was, and honestly, it's anything but that. I thought the tone of the show was pretty spot on. I mean, this is definitely a very somber show because you see this girl and she's lost her father, and all her life, she's wanted to know what her father was like. He was out a lot and he didn't really see them. She didn't really have much of a relationship with him. And I think the way they established that was actually very well done. The way they really set up this dynamic of these two and how much she wanted to get to know her father really worked once you realize that, holy shit, she can communicate to her father. I thought that worked really well in the show. And the tone of the show pretty much works, works all the time. I think definitely the mystery aspect was there, the drama was there. You definitely felt for their relationship overall, and did a very good job with that. But the writing in general, they did a really good job of not making this too fast-paced. It does take her a little while to get that ham radio, and then I like that he initially didn't believe her, but I like that that didn't take a long time, because I felt like we were going to go episodes and episodes with him not believing her, but no, he does in fact believe her, and he now knows that she has a ham radio, and she in fact even saved him, and now that that's happened, she really has changed things in her world, and I'm looking forward to seeing really where that whole story is going to go. But what gets me even more interested is the story of this character of the Nightingale, because the Nightingale, supposedly, that is the person that killed her father. We found out that this was in fact a setup, that Frank was supposed to be killed. There wasn't actually a there wasn't really anything actually going on. He thought that it was going to be like a criminal he was supposed to catch, but unfortunately it was actually his police partner, I guess was a dirty cop, and basically got Frank killed. And now that Raimy knows this, it looks like these two are going to work together to uncover really what's going on, because they don't really know what's going on. And then as far as Julie goes, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to getting into, is what exactly happened to Raimy's mother. How did Julie turn out this way? How was she a victim of the Nightingale? That's something we don't really know yet, and I'm really looking forward to getting into that overall, because I thought that overall was very interesting, the way they set all that up. But the Nightingale in general, we see at the very end of the episode that Raimy says, oh, the Nightingale isn't killed in 20 years, but then you see that the Nightingale is in fact still out there. So who's the Nightingale? How much has the Nightingale been killing? That's something I'm definitely looking forward into getting into. I really do like the way that's going, and I think overall that whole story is very interesting. The way that they did 2016 and 1996, the one thing I was very much worried about is that we're really going to be very choppy and very convoluted. I will admit there are a couple times where it did throw me off, just because of the way it was done, but I thought they very well were able to tell the difference between 2016 and 1996. They did that really well, because they play music from 1996, such as when they played Wonderwall or something like that, which I love that song, but obviously that's a 90s song, and then when they went to 2016, it was like modern music. They did a really good job with that contrast. That was something I was a little bit worried about, but they actually handled very well, and I definitely really did appreciate the way it was done. I thought that was definitely very well handled. My worry about the show, let me get into this. My worry about the show is, now that things have changed for the worse in her world, in regards to her mom disappearing, Gordo, I guess, being the one to look after her, that's what it seems like to me, and now Daniel not knowing her, I'm worried that the show is going to end up by the end of season 1 with her having to kill her father. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I really don't want that time, because then we don't have a show. So where do we go from here? I honestly don't really know, because to me it seems like it's going to be one of those things where she's going to have to make sure that her father dies in that, assassination attempt, and that he actually does die. It's not just an assassination attempt. He is in fact dead there. I'm thinking that that's what she's going to have to do, unless she finds a way to track down her mother and make Daniel fall back in love with her. I just don't really know where the show is going from here, and that's fine, honestly. I like it when shows don't really tell you where they're headed. I mean, I don't really have much of a problem with that. It's just I don't really know where the show's going to go and if it's really going to work from here, but we'll have to see. That's just a little minor complaint that I had. I don't really know where it's headed, but I think the cinematography in the show is definitely very well portrayed. The idea of the ham radio is a little bit different. I haven't really seen that in a TV show before. Yes, it was done in the movie, but again, Frequency is not that known of a movie. I think the only people that know it are people that probably watched it. I mean, I don't really think many people know about it, and I think definitely the ham radio is the perfect way of changing things up, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that is going to coincide into what's going on, especially that scene where she's talking to her younger self. That stuff was very fascinating. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to go. And also, the only thing I don't really understand is how is she able to talk to her younger self? Because most times in these time travel things, when you come in contact with your younger or older self, you kind of like shut down. I guess they're not doing that, but I just found that to be a little bit too convenient. The fact she was literally able to talk to herself and get her younger self to tell her father that her old self is on the line, is waiting to speak with him. I found that part to be a little bit silly, but other than that, I definitely did get into this overall. I thought the writing was definitely very well handled. The cinematography, there's not really a huge contrast between the two, but like I said, the music, I think they used that very well. The musical cues, the way that was done. And then the editing this first episode, that was a little bit too fast-paced, but definitely it's setting up where the show's going to go. Because obviously, you know, we want to get into that butterfly effect. We want to see how much she's changed things. And again, I don't really know where the show goes from here, but overall, definitely was a lot more intrigued and impressed by this first episode than I expected to be. So over this episode, let me know what you guys thought of this first episode overall. Loved your thoughts on it. I definitely was a lot more impressed than I thought it was going to be. Going into this, I was like, this is probably going to be like every other time travel show I've seen. But no, they really did change up some things. They introduced this very interesting relationship. I just don't know where we're going to go. I'm hoping that there's another version of the show where it doesn't just end with Raimy realizing that she has to let her father die. I'm hoping that they don't do that, because it would something with The Flash, and people are going to compare it to that. The difference with The Flash is that the driving, that not that entire show is about, you know, Barry's mother dying. That's not what that entire show is about. Yes, this season it kind of relies on that, but not the entire show relies on that. Frequency, though, that is literally the plot of the show. She's able to discover her father's alive. I don't really know how we have a show if she lets her father die in 1996. And I don't know if that's where that's going to go. I just don't really see another possibility right now. We'll have to see, but I'm very interested in getting the history of the Nightingale killer. You know, how did her mother disappear? How is she going to fix things with Daniel? Because, again, he doesn't know her. Is she going to, you know, maybe change this butterfly effect? I mean, I'm very interested in that overall. You guys know one of my favorite movies is The Butterfly Effect, just because of how interesting it is. And I think this show's really going to use that to their advantage. Really show how for everything you changed in the past, something changes in the present. And I think they're definitely going to use that very well in the show. I'm looking forward to seeing the way that's going to go. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought of this first episode. Loved your thoughts on it. I definitely really was impressed with this first episode overall. Definitely going to keep watching. And we'll see you guys in my next one, which will be for a movie review. And we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.